Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I am sharing my take on sketch number 5 from the Sketches for 6x6 paper pads, one-page sketch bundle. This is designed by Allison Davis, put out through Scrapbook Generation. I will post a link below where you can find the sketch bundle. The Facebook group, I'm pretty sure is closed, so if you're in the group, hello fellow group member. If not, the sketch bundles are still available. You can kind of work through it on your own. I know last time she ended up doing a second group to kind of encompass everybody else that missed out on the first time. I don't believe she's doing that this time. So for my version of the sketch, I went with like a New Year's Eve themed layout, and I don't have New Year's Eve themed products. So my go-to for that type of thing is like black, white, gold, silver. The only 6x6 pad I have that really falls into that is this really old Doodlebug one that's Graduation. I don't think I actually ended up using any of the papers from that because it just wasn't working for me. So my starting point is I grabbed a black textured cardstock base. I did sprinkle it with a gold mist, let that dry, and then I picked out 3 papers to kind of make my triangles with. There's a white tone on tone that came from a Doodlebug pad. There is a black like check tone on tone that came from a Doodlebug Halloween line, and then a like chunky gold glitter paper that came from that tonic pad that you can see in the upper left corner. That was kind of a recent purchase. I think I had shared it in a haul. I used it to make the coins on my Mario scene for the 2-page version of this class. But I really like the fact that in that pad, I think you get like 5 or 6 sheets of each type of paper. So there's some that are like super flat and shiny, some have like a chunky texture to them, some have like a streaky texture to them. To me, pretty good bang for the buck, especially for like specialty papers. I prefer to buy them in a smaller size than a full size, but that's me. I really debated about stitching on this one. This was the point where I kept looking at it, and I was really worried that if I stitched on it, I wasn't going to like it. And then I was going to be stuck. I wasn't going to want to restart it. So I just kind of went for it. I decided, you know what, I'm going to go for it. The plan is to kind of layer a bunch of stuff on top of it anyways. And I don't need to stitch on every layout for this. But I do... Anytime I do like these bundles, I do like to try to have something kind of in the back of my mind where there's like a specific focus running throughout all of them. And right now I kind of want to stitch on every single one of these. I enjoy stitching. 9 times out of 10 I like the end result. So I think as of right now I'm going to try to stitch on every single layout. And then, like I said at the beginning, I don't have New Year's Eve themed products. So I had made a note when I printed out my photos, matched it to the sketch, that I basically wanted to go into the Silhouette store and kind of find some images there that I could just die cut and make my own embellishments. So I knew I wanted like champagne flutes or wine glasses or something like that, and then some type of confetti streamers. So I go into the store and I tend to look for simplified versions, especially knowing that I was going to be cutting specialty cardstocks, thicker cardstock, stuff with texture on it. The more simple the design, the easier it's going to cut out. So I went through and cut out my champagne flutes and some streamers with vellum. I ran the other... like one of the offcuts from the gold paper that I made the triangle with. I did the actual like champagne part of the flutes with that. Used the rest of the space to cut out some streamers. I also cut streamers with a black glittered cardstock I've had forever. It's actually left over from a class that I did a long time ago. and I think that's it. I think I only have the 3 color streamers, the 2 gold cardstocks and the vellum. Here's the black one that I was talking about. I think I got it at Michael's. It cuts really good, so I tend to save like every scrap of it. And then my journaling, I just kind of cut it into like a little label shape, and I'm gonna put it in the same spot that it's depicted on the sketch. And just, I matted it with that same black glitter cardstock and attached it with my favorite foam strips. I just didn't want it to be flat and kind of uninteresting, because all this other stuff is going on over on like the left side, and then I've got my journaling over there. I didn't want it to look like plain and kind of off over there. So this is the part where I start to get everything attached. For some reason, layouts like this, where there's a lot of stuff going on as far as like homemade embellishments, stitching, anything like that, I tend to not operate like I normally do with a more basic layout, where I would immediately attach my photos, all of my paper, and then kind of move on. These type of layouts don't tend to be layered like that for me. So I will spend more time double checking like placement before I glue anything down. In the end, I wish that I had kind of paid a little bit more attention and maybe looked up at my camera. And I kind of wish I had shifted my photos more to the center of the layout and like a little bit further up that triangle. My photos are larger than the ones on the sample. The sketch shows 2 3x3 photos. I made my left photo, I think, is a 4x4. The other one is a 3x4. So I should have shifted them up a little bit, and I think that the end result of the layout I would have liked a little better. It would have felt a little less like congested by the end, but I wasn't going to pull everything up either. So I'm just going through. I know that the photos are going to be there. I know the champagne flutes are going to be there. So I'm gluing everything down that is sort of already decided on. This is where I want it to be. And I just kind of keep working through that process. I'm also in the back of my mind kind of trying to think of, okay, I don't want to just have pattern paper that I've cut out. So I go to basically any embellishments that are these colors. And I've done this before when I've used this graduation 6x6 pad and like a black and gold theme, is I go to the Simple Stories wedding collection for the die cuts. There's a lot of them in there that don't have wedding themed phrases, or they're just kind of blank. So like this little tag just has like a music print on it. So to me, that didn't clash with New Year's Eve. I don't think that it screams New Year's Eve, but it also doesn't clash. I grabbed some little like tabs that were like a gold stripe and then a gold that just says together. I used like a little envelope that just had a gold heart on it. Just super basic things, but I wanted to be able to mix in something other than just die cut paper. And I do tend to kind of work the bigger elements first and then kind of go down in size, because I can always squeeze the smaller stuff in later. From here, I started working on my title. Now I am going to show you guys how I did this on some black cardstock. In the end, I ended up using the same white tone-on-tone paper that my large triangle is. I used the scrap of that and redid these letters. But this is a stamp set from the stamp market. In theory, I love the idea of this. The whole alphabet is one stamp, so you're not messing with little letters. You're not trying to line anything up. I went through and used some Versamark ink to be able to emboss. I've got some gold embossing powder. But the way that the stamp set works is you stamp the stamp as like a whole alphabet. The numbers are on there and everything. And then you can die cut them all using the coordinating die in one go. I don't know if it's just mine or if it's user error, but every time that I have used this, when I go to line up the die, it's like if I'm lining them up along the top row, the bottom row is not centered. If I try to line them up on the bottom row, the top row is not centered. Like there's something just a little bit off between the stamp set and the die that it makes me a little frustrated. So I don't know if it's intended to be that way, but it bugs me where like if a letter from the top of the stamp is like centered really well, and then you go and get like a Y from the bottom and it's not centered. It just drives me nuts. I like the idea of it. I like being able to make them out of whatever materials I want. So I'm kind of wondering if anybody knows like a similar product to this, comment down below and let me know. Because I don't know, I kind of want to go, like I love things like alpha dies and stamps because you can use them over and over and over again. And like I said, I like the concept of this one. I don't like the application. My title I cut with some alpha dies, used the same chunky gold glitter paper. And I'm gonna guess that I did not film that part. I couldn't find that clip. I literally just had to go back and find 3 more clips that I apparently forgot to pull in because I was like, whoa, my sample photos are popping up and the layout's not done. So welcome to my mess. But so this is kind of where I was talking about how I work with the bigger things and then I start going smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm tucking more streamers behind my journaling. I'm tucking streamers coming out of my photos. That type of thing. I also had die cut. I had those dies over off to the right that I was thinking about using. Those are another recent purchase. Can't wait to use those because my current obsession is the tiny hearts and the tiny stars. And that's like a whole set of tiny shapes, but you get more than one die of the exact same size, so it will be a lot faster to actually make them. But I am obsessed with the Mama Elephant, like tiny star confetti one. That one is like one whole die and you get 2 different size stars, but it cuts like 10 of them at a time. I absolutely love that thing. I think I've used it on a couple layouts from this series. I don't know, they're relaxing to make. They're so freaking tiny and cute. They fit anywhere and everywhere. And I don't know when I'm gonna stop being obsessed with them. Had I thought about it, I probably would have pulled out some sequins to kind of mix in, especially with it being a New Year's themed layout. I didn't really think about it until just now. Kind of in between editing this video and stuff, I started matching up paper pads and supplies to the next 5 sketches. So of course I was, digging through my stash and came across all of like my sequins and stuff. And I was like, dang it, why did I not think about this when I did the layout to begin with? So here you can see I have already done the title area. I probably just didn't film that part. To me, it's super tedious to glue letters down and get them lined up the first time. I don't want to watch myself do it the second time, and I don't want to make you guys suffer through watching me do it. So yeah, so these are those tiny stars that I was talking about. I absolutely love them. I do like 3 layers of a white cardstock, and then the top is like the pattern. So I just used scraps that were from the papers that I used for like the triangles, the different specialty cardstocks that I used for the streamers and stuff, and just kind of scattered them everywhere. I love the way the layout came out at the end. I do, however, like I said, I wish that I had kind of paid attention and just shifted the whole like grouping where my photos are. If I had just kind of shifted that more to the center of the layout, I think it would be a little bit more balanced. But again, I'm not going to rip everything up just to move that. So I didn't do a date stamp on this because obviously it's New Year's Eve. I just made sure that I put the year. I did it with that stamp market set because, again, it does do numbers and letters at the same time. And here you can see my finished layout and some of the details closer up, so you can kind of see the streamers that I cut with my Cameo, those stars that I was talking about. You can kind of actually see the splatters on the background. And yeah, that pretty much finishes up this. So I don't know when I'm going to get around to sketch number 6, but I am trying to get caught up. So I will catch you guys later.